Okay. Hello. So Connor was not able to join us today.
What?
Will's not able to join us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, even not this one, yeah.
That kind of messed up what we were going to do a little bit today, but that's okay.
That's okay.
How's everybody doing? Fantastic.
Fun, fantastic.
Better than bad.
Better than bad.
Yeah, it's either you're bad or you're fantastic. That's what we're gonna go with today. So we're not gonna have a traditional training like workshop today. We're gonna discuss the stuff from the beginning. That's gonna be more just kind of free time. We're hoping Will's gonna be able to attend so he could then like help you guys out with your projects. But he is gonna be busy. With another meeting I was unaware of, so it's not gonna happen. But so yes, but next week we're gonna have really important training on data visualization. That's gonna be super useful for you guys' projects. That's gonna be happening next week. So today's gonna be kind of a lighter week in terms of our workshop trainings. So just I guess to start, I just want to kind of go over the timeline a little bit like we usually do. I'm going to share my screen so people online can see. Okay. So this week is week 5. Week 5 is kind of hidden down at below week 4. So there's not a whole ton this week that we have for goals. Next week, though, you can kind of ignore that. That's only for particular projects. That type of stuff. And we really just need to take it out of the calendar, but we haven't taken that out yet. But the next really important thing, due date-wise, is week 7. And what's due in week 7 is your final deliverable methodology is going to be due. And not only do your methodology, but basically your first couple slides of your presentation. Kind of by week 6, we want to be halfway done with research. So that's by like the end of next week. And what we want to do is start to build that PowerPoint now, because then it's going to be easier for ourselves during week 10 or week 9 when we're all done. And there's some parts of PowerPoint which we already know. We already know the overview. We already know like the title slide. We already know like probably what the methodology is or the procedures you guys are using to research your data. So we can just kind of just build those as we go. But that's basically the timeline. The research data analysis plan, you're probably not really going to be doing unless your project's kind of complicated. And if it is, you can talk to one of us project managers or one of your student mentors. I want to go over something really quick, though, about that methodology. In your intern resource folder has inside the training folder and then inside the presentations folder is a folder called examples. And inside this folder has a bunch of examples of presentations. In ALPS Basic, we don't have a write-up, which we do in advance, so that's really nice. You guys don't have to do that. But we do have a PowerPoint presentation, which you guys are going to deliver in your final consultation to the client, and you're going to be giving that file over to the client. So it needs to be what we call kind of standalone, meaning that somebody could a month or two later read it and understand enough about the PowerPoint and enough about what's happening to grasp all the concepts. It's not like a PowerPoint where you're gonna have a picture and that's it. There's words that go along with it. That's what a standalone slide is. And I kind of want to show you a little bit of some variations on how people did their scope or overview, and then how they went on into the methodology. So this is a project that I did when I was an intern here. So you have your standard, and we have templates for PowerPoints inside of this presentation folder. There's templates right here with examples. So this project I had was basically threefold. There's three key parts. There's a competitive analysis we did, there's a demand study we did, and then we did some grant research. So in the scope, we clearly identified what we were doing, what we were trying to learn in each topic. And then we went on to the methodology. We did a three-slide methodology. Some of your projects will be 3 slides, some will be 2 slides, some will be 1 slide methodology. But basically outlining the procedures, what we did. So here we compiled a list of 32 incubators. These are for startups, basically a facility where they go to kind of co-work together in these states. And then how we got our research. And then we talked about how much research we got. 66 data points from each firm. Then we talked about the methodology for the demand. We did a bunch of surveys. How we did those surveys, how many surveys we got, how we did the surveys, how many we got for each one. Here, these are in-home business surveys that we did over the phone. We talked about how many businesses we started out with. We started the database of businesses. Then we filtered to 67. And then we surveyed all those 67. 22 completed the survey. And we filtered it again, the 17 met the criteria. So another really important part of methodology is to kind of validate your data and show that you went through a process to get your data. It wasn't I Googled it and here we go, here's the data. But it's showing the effort that was put in that really gives a project value. Because if it was easy, it's not really valuable. And then the third part of the project, so we explained the third methodology we used. Basically, we went through a bunch of grant databases that exist both federally and through state governments and searched through those manually one by one to find grants that were applicable. So this is something that we hope that your projects will be able to kind of deal with in the next week to week and a half, is being able to kind of create these first couple slides. Because by now, you should pretty much know what your scope is for most projects. There's a couple projects I think that are still kind of trying to firm that up. And you can do it now instead of doing it later. This is a project done for BYU Idaho, which has a very simple scope, and they just have 1 slide methodology. So if it fits on 1 slide, then that's totally fine. Most of you guys could probably have your methodology fit on 1 slide. And if you don't know, that's also okay. So let's say, this is for a recycling company. Maybe you don't know all the numbers yet, but you can give an outline, a rough draft of the scope, a rough draft of the methodology. You can have then your student mentors look at it or us look at it. And we kind of give you, some hints, or we can kind of go and revise it. You might not know that you identified 77 at this point, but you might know that you are going to identify some shops in Bonneville County. And they did theirs in 2 different slides. So that just to keep you guys aware of kind of what's happening out in the forefront. That's, kind of the next thing due. So for the rest of the time, we're going to open it up to kind of questions, teamwork, as well as you have questions for me or Connor. You're saying hopefully Will is going to be able to have he's not able to attend, to ask about some maybe data collection strategies or some difficulties you guys are having that seeking advice to overcome, or if you just want to use this as a time to meet as a group, that's fine. We are going to have another training here at 4 o'clock, though. We're getting in like 20 new interns who are going to be joining you guys' projects as well as joining our advanced projects at 4 o'clock. So the next 30 minutes, you guys are welcome to use this room, talk to us, meet, and kind of discuss. But I don't know how to say this politely, but if you can clear the room by 4, then that'd be fantastic. I guess it's kind of abrasive sounding. And we do have some student mentors who, 2 of them at least, I know who are currently watching us right now. And student mentors, I'd recommend going into Slack and trying to communicate with your teams. And you guys can have like private hangout sessions if you want to talk to them. Because I'm not doing this open event. But try to use your student mentors. They are busy, and they're doing this just because they love to do it, and they're doing it out of their goodness of their heart, just as volunteers type thing. But they are good resources, so try to use them as much as possible. So I think that's going to end our live broadcast, and then it's just going to be kind of meet with your teams and try to work. Ask me in contact questions. That's why we are here. Yeah.